morning, Adam. Finally, we are on the
Good
second
morning.
podcast. And good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for seeing this second podcast. Like we told you in the first podcast, we'll try to make every week, if not every other week, one podcast for make you know how my prep is going and for share with you the progress. And also we got so many inquiries about many important things about woman stuff. So about balancing, about diet, about working out, about blood check. So who else is not better than Adam for answer to all of these questions? I can use myself like a person to share with you the things, but the brain is here and I am the body. So let's do the best today and make you guys happy to see this new podcast. Up to you, Adam.
Love
What do
it.
you wanna say?
It's so good to be here. And yeah, I'm excited to hear some of the questions that everyone has for us.
Yes. So, what do you think if you start speaking about what we have in plan for me, starting point from the body that we put on stage at the Olympia? So, about my workout, about my meal plan, what we are going to change for make my body better than the last time we was on stage.
Absolutely. So first, we kind of have our food selection nailed pretty well. We know what she's been digesting well. There still is the stress component that we're eliminating because we saw in our last podcast how much that helped her. You don't just alleviate all the stress that she needed to relieve in that short amount of time. So, even though we're trying to grow, we don't have training volume extremely high. We don't have training days extremely high, but we do have, that recovery dial kicked in pretty hard. Cardio's a lot lower. And this kind of naturally falls with reverse dieting, which is nice. But I did want to touch on the training component that we're not doing as much as she's used to. And I know when you were here for Olympia, there are a couple days you're like, is that all we're gonna do today?
Yeah,
And
like 3, 4 times I was asking, is just that? That's it. So I'm more good on diet, so manage my food and make my meal plan. But about working out, if it's for me, I can spend hour and hour in the gym. That is sometimes it's good, but sometimes it's not. So sometimes, and that's why I need to have the double eyes on me for make sure that I follow what they told me, because if it's for my mind, I will kill the gym every single day for like 2, 3 hours and many hours of cardio. Cardio in the morning for me is
absolutely.
important, and I will never kick off because for me it's important, for example, for go well to the restroom and have a good digestion. But sometimes this, instead of doing cardio for lose weight, because I love to see my body more shredded, that is not good, is not so good. That's why Adam told me no. So we did just 30 minutes working out and that's it.
Yeah. And it's funny because the way you're geared as an athlete is what made you an Olympian today. So I don't want people to be afraid to train hard and maybe sometimes mentally give them the excuse not to. There's times and places you're going to train harder than others. She had just been grinding so long that she definitely needed a little bit of a break. Her body showed it, her digestion showed it. There was a huge stress component with that. But you're functioning really well now. The first part of your reverse has gone real well. If anyone's not familiar with reverse dieting, it's
Yeah, that
relatively
was one question that I got after the Olympia. How is the reverse dieting? How is working? how usually also, because after the show, sometimes this happen not only on the pros, because us after many, many years on the show times, we know how manage and how make our after show less harder for example, a new people that is just getting in this industry, but especially in the new peoples that starting now to compete and growing. So I have a lot of bikinis and also not bikinis that asking me about how also keep away from the craving after the show. So Adam, what is your advice for the people, for example, that after the show, for me as well, but especially for the amateur, that can help them to keep the diet, don't have problem on the digestion because it's very hard then digest bad food after a long period on diet, and also how they can have less craving about food. I mean junk food.
That's a great question because some people are going to have issues with certain foods and other people will not. Hopefully, during your prep, you're pretty locked in on that and don't have to do some of the things we did to kind of counteract that. But why that's ultimately important, because if you're eating food sources you'll digest well, and now you're increasing them, guess what? Your digestion just gets even worse. And now there's more bullets stuck inside of you, pushing more estradiol back into your body, which makes things really difficult for contest prep and now reverse. So you really do want to make sure the divisions of upper GI, lower GI, what symptoms come with each, and kind of how to manage those things. But in a normal functioning body, and good digestion, you're going to be able to slowly increase calories. And a little bit junk food here and there is okay, but you really have to be careful when you're in, because guess what? If you get a digestive issue, now you've added 4 things back into your diet, and it could be one of 4 things. So now you're troubleshooting. It's much, much harder. So it's really important to kind of still maybe have a little bit of a narrow food selection window, especially if you are recovering from GI issues or trying to keep them at bay. So kind of like what we're doing right now, we haven't had anything crazy in yet just because we want to make sure we come out of this well. And it's been going very, very smooth. Now, I also don't want to say let's eat the same thing all the time, because you can start hammering the same enzymes in your stomach all the time. And if those don't resynthesize, now you have like an intolerance essentially. We don't see that as often, but it does happen. So you do have to be careful with that, especially rotate your meats around. A lot of people just eat chicken day in, day out, or tilapia day in and day out. So I know one thing for you, we added some different meats in, beef especially, and some leaner turkey, and that really helped as well. So yeah, just adding a small amount of calories and trying to prevent too much weight gain too quickly for your metabolic rate. So some people might be able to get away with a little more weight gain than others.
That's awesome. So, and how stay away from some craving about junk food? Because sometimes it happen that I start cheat one day, the day after also, the day after also, the day after also, and it's come like a dog that eat every time, same time. So it's like don't have the the power to take off and just keep going on the cheat meal. How we can stay far from this?
Yeah, I think sometimes we trigger us a little bit, And for a few of my clients, it's candy actually, which can be kind of difficult. So if they can stay away from candy, or just eat it away from the house in a small serving. So they may implement it, pre-workout, and only like sometimes the Reese cups are good. Like they'll buy just one pack of two for the gym, eat both, and then they're done, don't buy 5 packs of it. So I think that's really important, is to make sure that you don't have a lot of stuff laying around that is going to be an issue for you. I know on my team daily calls that I do with my clients, we just talked about this week, where I had a client who was struggling with peanut butter, and we were just like, man, let's get that out of your house and pick avocado instead. And she's doing so much better just by not having that temptation in the house. I know I can eat sushi in copious amounts if wanted. So, with me, before I eat it, I always try to say, my limit's going to be 3 rolls when I go. And that helps keep me accountable. So sometimes just the planning ahead of those triggering foods and really having that self-talk can be
Also,
helpful too.
I think when you're craving about something, you can replace about something else. For example, making something very similar, or make something that can make your stomach more full, like I usually do, because I found out all the kind of different stuff to make my food more volume in my food. I use a lot of veggies that is not good on stage time, because sometimes make your stomach bloating. But for example, replace egg, adding water that make like sweeteners, or using some veggie with cinnamon and stevia can help you to stay away from some craving. For example, cucumber, you can use with stevia and some cinnamon, that help you, and it's really good. Or using something like a smoothie, a protein smoothie. You can do protein smoothie with some fruits and maybe a yogurt inside that is a healthy, but at the same time is not like eating an ice cream, for example. You can maybe have in off season 2 cheat meal a week, but in the other days you can find different options, since you have more carbs, so your mind is working well, and you can replace different food with different ideas that help you so much on the weight, on also to see your body. If you see your body that you like, you have more motivation, and you keep going and pushing hard, and be with your mind in what you want and what you want to achieve.
Yeah, and that's great advice. And you've seen me cook, unfortunately.
You see me cook for you.
And I've seen you cook for me. And the way you cook for me is so much better than how I cook for myself. So I'm not very creative with my food. So when Alessia flew in for the Olympia to, get ready, and she cooked a couple meals for me, I was like,
Yeah,
man,
because
I've been
I like
eating
to make,
bad.
yeah, I like to make very healthy stuff, since I'm Italian. So I like to make foods for everyone and taking care and make healthy food for everyone. So he was looking at his meals and was like, but it's a lot. No, it's just potatoes, stick, and veggies. But it looks so big, because the way how I make that was big, but at the end was like 200 300 calorie a portion. That is a normal portion macros that you have to count sometimes if you have a diet with macros. If not, you have just to follow your diet plan and try to make that as more biggest as possible. So with this we can connect about another stuff, but I'm not sure if speaking today or maybe the next time, because I think people, like we spoke before, Adam, I think people don't like to see the podcast very long, but maybe we keep the podcast short with some 1 or 2 questions each podcast, so people can has more pleasure to see the podcast, and maybe can use the podcast during the 15 or 20 minutes of cardio, and enjoy. So the next question is about which is the difference about macros plan versus diet meal plan. So I think in the next podcast we can speak about which is the different, which is better in your opinion as a coach, and also we can speak in the next podcast about the blood work, which you have made me do for the next week because we are 3 weeks after the Olympia. So we need to check my blood, how it's work, if everything is fine. So who else is better than you to speaking about blood works for the woman, and not just after the show, but usually during the year, because since I know you, you have always told me how important was the blood work. So you make me check my blood every couple of time, and from them I have start check my blood, and that's why now I feel so much better, so much healthy, my skin, my tone, my humor, everything, because I'm balanced. So in that podcast maybe we can speak about macros versus meal plan and blood works, and maybe other people's wanna ask some different question after see this podcast, so we can share more info about this and also about how my prep is going. What do you think?
I think that's perfect. And I think everyone can digest shorter segments better, and then they know like where to find the information better as well.
Yeah. So did you want to add anything else, anything more about my prep, my after Olympia, how my prep is going before Olympia, how you took your eyes on me every single day, every single morning? I was every morning because I was in the same time checking on me, make sure everything was perfect, make sure the foods I was eating was fine, put inside the working out, give me energy, motivation, everything. Did you want to add something about?
I did want to add something about you, like little segments, because you're a very interesting person and I don't think people know you well. So, can you tell us how many languages you can speak?
Oh, I speak English. I have to try to learn much better English, and now Adam is helping me also to learn and improve English. I speak Italiano, that is my language, la mia lingua. I speak Spanish, Portuguese, and I understand Deutsch.
That's so impressive. And one thing that's neat about Alessia that she really does stop sometimes mid-sentence and she's just like, am I saying this correctly? And she's it's impressive for you to even just go from Italian to English, I think is impressive, but to know all the other languages is so impressive to me. I'm really just intrigued by that. And I think your audience will.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Now we have to make you learning Italiano.
I know, right?
Because I think in the seminar that we will organize using the Nubi, that is the machine you make me use in the US. And now I'm still missing so much that machine because it's making a lot of progress on me. I think many people will love it, and you can help many people here in Italy, in Europe, to grow, helping to improve, helping about many stuff about your enology, which make the difference between a coach that has enology and a coach that has not enology, but just working and make protocol, copy and paste. I think is a big difference.
I think so too. And we'll probably talk about that a lot more on the meal plan segment too, because that's where a lot of the copy and paste and even macro, stuff kind of, a lot of people were doing that. And now everyone's evolved, hopefully, as a coach, and there's not as much of that anymore these days, but we can tell you guys maybe things to look out for.
Yeah, exactly. So make sure before you choose a coach, Don't just take a moment and jump on that. Unfortunately, I tried a lot of coach, and I have got good experience about not good coach or coach that didn't care at all about the clients. Clients are just numbers. So, and many good coach in this industry, but that for me was not working, because for me, working well is helping me mentally and support me and fit with my character that is very hard. I'm very difficult, and sometimes you have to have big passion. So you really have to be careful and love what you do. Don't just be a coach and have a number of athletes, because you need to really love your work for have the passion to coaching me. So it's not just, you have to have the feeling, the right feeling with the person, and connect it and really feel that this person is right, not just about because of the number of clients in that team make the team good, or the coach good. Maybe sometimes it's better a coach with no name but a lot of knowledge, and that has care about the small amount of clients, taking care about every single athlete, put everyone in the same level. Doesn't matter who win more or who win less. Every athlete is working hard every single day to achieve the dream. So one athlete is not less important than the other athletes. Maybe is genetically more lucky, or maybe that day is the day of that person. Maybe the week after is the day of the other person. So the coach don't have to jump then in the person that win that time and before didn't care at all. Make sure, guys, you choose the right coach, because that makes the difference, especially here for you in your prep. That is my advice for all of you.
Well, it's good spending time with you this morning and afternoon for you.
For me, is actually afternoon. We have 9-hour time zone, so we have make sure that everything was working well for you guys. So yeah, we have almost one day difference, but it's fine, completely fine.
Yeah,
Thank you to you, Adam, for
absolutely.
trying to find and make this new podcast that I think will help a lot of people. So, guys, we're waiting
I'm
for
excited.
our third podcast that will come out the next week. We wish you an amazing journey. We hope this video is coming well to you guys. You like this video. And if you have any question, just reach out to Adam in his profile. See you later, Liner. So you can find him on Instagram, and he will so happy and will be so happy to help you or answer back to you in all your questions, right?
Absolutely. We'll
Thank
see
you,
you
guys.
guys next week.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.